life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. Sing it out. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. Great are you, Lord. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, the bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. Sing it again. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. One more time. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord.
Hey, church, we're so glad that you're joining us online. I want to give you a little test here to see if you can finish the lyric. Does it show signs of stopping? And I brought some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low. Finish the lyric. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. We hope that you are staying warm and cozy and safe this morning, and we're so glad that you're joining us online. We have 3 announcements that we want to make sure you know about this morning. The first one is we're going to deliver food this coming Saturday. And so this is an easy way to make a difference in our community. You sign up online so we know how many people we can say yes to. People call in asking for food, and we don't know how many deliveries we can make until we know how many people are willing to make those deliveries. So sign up online. If you need a buddy to make those deliveries with you, we'll put you with somebody. If not, just sign up with that person and we'll send you out. The food's provided. You just need to make the delivery and make all the difference in the world to a household. And then the second announcement is the Finish the Lyric event that was supposed to happen right after church today, but now is going to happen next Sunday after church. So we invite you, stay after, enjoy a lunch together, and then you'll have a fun time playing Finish the Lyric. The third announcement comes from our Wayfinder Counseling and Wellness. Our therapists over there are doing an amazing job, and they're trying to find ways for us all to find wholeness in Jesus. And two groups that they're starting. One is the marriage group. We've been talking about this for weeks. You got to get signed up. It starts in a week and a half. This is if you want your marriage not just to survive, but you want your marriage to thrive. We encourage you to sign up. It's worth the investment that you put in it. The second one is for new moms. This is a postpartum group. And this is an opportunity for you to get together with other new moms and for Kelsey, one of the therapists there, to walk you through this new season of your life. We invite you this morning to worship through giving. You can do that in 3 ways. The screen says 4, but obviously there aren't boxes around the back of the room. So you can give in those 3 ways through your phone, your tablet, your computer. We invite you to do that. If you're new here, you can find out more about us by following the QR code, and that'll help you just learn more about us and help us learn more about you. If you fill out the form and you tell us just how we can come alongside you. This morning, we are starting a new series, and it's called It's Complicated. It's all about relationships. And so lean in, enjoy your time this morning. Thanks.
Hey, West Towne, good morning. Hope you are staying warm and dry and all of those things. I know today looks a little different than our scheduled routine. And it's not just about where we're at this morning. It's also about our schedule for the day. We had planned to start a new sermon series today called It's Complicated, Loving in Real Life. And it was this idea of a series on relationships. How do we show up well and love well in real life? We're going to talk about some of those concepts today, just kind of give an overview and an introduction. But our planned sermon for today is actually pushed to next Sunday. I was going to teach with Heather Willard, our director over at Wayfinder Counseling Center. And so I want to show you just a quick preview that Heather and I made earlier this week about the series. So take a look at this, and then we'll come back together for our time this morning in just a second.
Hey guys, I'm here with Heather Willard, our director over at Wayfinder Counseling Center. We are starting a new sermon series called It's Complicated, talking about loving well in real life. And we actually thought it was so important that we wanted to wait until next week when we're all back together in person to really kick the series off. But we wanted to spend just a couple of minutes here giving you guys a preview of what's coming up in that series, some of the topics we're going to cover, and why it's really important for you and your relationships, whether that's your marriage, your dating relationship, your parenting, your friendship, whatever connection with the people we have, including connection with God. We hope this series is going to be a big help for you. So Heather, do you want to kind of share what we've got coming up this coming week in the series?
Yeah, so when we're all together again, we're going to talk about connection with God, connection with other people, what gets in the way of that, and what to do about it.
Yeah, we're going to pick that up this Sunday. Heather and I are actually going to teach together, which is going to be really fun. We've worked on this series with Heather and Joe Ashram over at Wayfinder. We're going to follow that up in a couple of weeks after with a look at baggage. So what are the hurts and pains and some of the past experiences that we bring into relationships in the present? And also in week 3, about how do we move past some of those barriers, whether it's behaviors or patterns that we picked up. How do we remove some of those and move past them to develop healthier relationships? And then we're going to sum it up the last few weeks with...
Yeah, we're going to talk about repairing relationships with other people. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is safety and connection with God and how to really find that intimacy with Him.
We're really looking forward to this. This has been a series we've worked on together and prayed over, and I think it's going to be a real benefit for you and your relationships, in whatever form they take. So next Sunday, we'd love for you to be here in person. Bring somebody with you. Give an invite to somebody. We think this is going to be really powerful, and God's going to show up in and through it, and we're excited to see where it goes. Hope you're enjoying your snow or ice day, and stay warm. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'm really looking forward to teaching with Heather next Sunday, and I hope you'll be there for it. But for today, I just want to kind of call this week 0 of It's Complicated and spend some time with a brief overview and maybe some reflection questions for you over relationships in your life. We're going to slow down today and just talk about the idea of why relationships matter. Relationships are a huge part of our lives because we're surrounded by other people. Or at least ideally, we have relationships with other people. Relationships are a beautiful part of our life. They add meaning and benefit and joy and fun and all those things. But also, relationships can be very stressful. There's joy and there's stress and worry, maybe hurt, all tied up in relationships. And as we talk about relationships in this series, we're not just talking about dating or married. We will talk about those relationships, but we're also talking about friendships and relationships with your family, what it means to be a mom, a dad, a son, a daughter, a sibling, a child. We'll talk about coworkers and church relationships. All of these relationships matter and they all have an impact on our life. Now, we may be tempted to believe that when we follow Jesus, we start our journey with him, that our relationships automatically get easier. But the truth is, following Jesus doesn't remove complexity from our life. It should just change the way we show up. It should change the way we approach complexity or the way we handle it because we're approaching it through a Jesus lens rather than through our own. So we want to root this conversation about relationships and the lens with which we see them through Jesus' greatest commandment. There's a story in the Gospels where some religious leaders come up to Jesus and they ask him, Teacher, what is the greatest commandment? Like, if we're going to get one thing right, what's the most important thing for us to get right? And Jesus answers them like this. He says, You've heard that it was said, you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength. This is the first and greatest commandment. Then he goes on to say, the second is like it. It's to love your neighbor as yourself. Of all the things that Jesus says, what's the greatest commandment? What's the most important thing? Jesus says, love. Christianity, following Jesus, is not just about a system of beliefs. It is that, but it's about so much more. Following Jesus is about how we live and how we love. And love is revealed by how we show up in relationships. Our love is revealed in the way we show up in relationships. And Jesus calls out 3 primary relationships in which this takes place: our relationship with God, with others, and with ourselves. Those 3 spheres make up Jesus' greatest commandment. And so this morning, what I'd like to do is just take a few minutes on each of those areas, each of those spheres. I have a couple thoughts. Then I'm going to share some reflection questions with you just to spend a minute or so thinking and praying over. And then we will pray together as we look ahead toward resuming, really beginning this series next week. So the first piece of this, our relationship with God. Jesus says that the most important thing, the greatest commandment, is to start right here in the way we love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. That's what it means to be all in. That's what it means to let God into every area of our life, is to love him with all we've got. Now, if we're honest, some of us may have at times or even presently had a complicated relationship with God. Sometimes God feels close. Sometimes maybe he feels distant. Sometimes we feel behind, or maybe we've not cleaned up enough first to get to God. But I need you to remember that the invitation of Jesus is always to come to him. Not when you have it together, not always when you feel spiritual, but just to come, to receive the invitation, to follow, to sit at Jesus' feet, to be with him, to let him walk with you and lead you and love you the way a good shepherd cares for his sheep. Loving God with everything we have means that there's no hiding. There's no pretending. There's no performing. We give God everything because we trust him with everything. And I don't know where you've been lately. I don't know if that's easy or difficult for you right now. But I want to ask you this question, and it's something for you to chew on for the next minute or so. Where do I feel close to God right now? And where do I feel distant or guarded? Where do I feel close to God right now, and where do I feel distant or guarded? Maybe take a minute or so and reflect on that, and we'll come back together in just a second. All right, part two, our relationship with others. The second command is to love your neighbor as yourself. And this is where things get real because loving people is beautiful. They add value to our life and meaning and fun and joy and laughter. And yet we also know that loving people is messy because people are messy. And so sometimes people add stress and hurt and worry and disappointment to our life. And newsflash, we add that to other people as well. Sometimes the hardest part of our life isn't always our schedule or our job. It's just learning how to love other people well when we're tired or we're stressed or we're triggered or we're angry or we're disappointed or we're misunderstood. We're just hungry even. Jesus calls us to love people even when we don't necessarily feel like it. And love expressed toward other people sometimes looks like humility. Sometimes it looks like patience. Sometimes it looks like speaking the truth. Sometimes it looks like forgiving them or asking for forgiveness from them. Sometimes it means being courageous and having a hard conversation. Sometimes it just means being a presence for someone who's hurting. And it always means showing grace for our failures. Relationships with other people can be really hard, but it's also a place where God shows up and reveals himself to us. So take just a moment and ask yourself the question and ask God, who is God calling me to love well right now? Who is the person? Who is the friend? Who's the family member? Who's the neighbor? Who's the classmate? Who's the coworker that God is calling me to love well right now? All right, let's talk about the last piece of this, loving ourselves. Jesus says that in order to love our neighbors well, we have to love them the way we love ourselves. And the problem is that sometimes we believe lies about our identity that distorts the way we relate to ourselves. Henry Nouwen was a Catholic priest and theologian, academic. He was one of my greatest influences in the spiritual life. And Nouwen talks about the idea that there are 5 lies of identity that humans tend to believe. That our true identity is that we are first and foremost the beloved child of God. That our life, our relationship with ourselves, our understanding of ourselves should be rooted in that. The idea that we are God's beloved son or daughter. But Nouwen says there are 5 ways in which our view of ourselves, our understanding of our own identity gets skewed. And then it messes with the way we see God and other people. Here are the 5 lies. Lie number 1 is, I am what I do. Lie number 2 is, I am what I have. Lie number 3 is, I am what other people think or say about me. Lie number 4 is, I'm nothing more than my worst moment. And line number 5 is, I'm nothing less than my best moment. When we believe those lies, we live into them. We're tempted to live in shame or in pride, which I think may just be a manifestation of shame. And it actually cuts us off from access to both God and other people. But Jesus, on the other hand, offers us a new foundation of how to see ourselves. Jesus would say, we're not what we do. We're not what we have. We're not what people say or think about us. We are what God says and thinks about us. And in Jesus, God sees us as his beloved son and his beloved daughter. We are his children. We've been adopted into his family. We've been made new and redeemed and restored. That is the root of who we are. That is our true identity. And so when we can understand that, we can show up well in the other 2 spheres. We can love God and love other people well. Now, there's a lot more of this to unpack, and we'll get into it in the weeks ahead. But I want to ask you this final question this morning. When it comes to your relationship with yourself, what story are you telling yourself about yourself right now? Maybe ask God, what story am I telling myself about myself? And is it shaped more by shame or by lies? Or is it shaped more by Jesus? Is it shaped more by what God says about you? Is it shaped more by what Jesus died to bring about for you, to be adopted into God's family? Take a few minutes and reflect on that, and we'll come back together. Well, hey, I hope that this has been somewhat of a meaningful time for you, just to kind of kickstart the series we're getting into next week. I am really excited about this series. I am bummed we didn't get to start it officially today, but we felt like it was so important that we wanted to be in person together for this team teaching with Heather and I. And it's not because of anything we've come up with. It's just because we're talking about relationships. It's good for us to be together as we talk about it. So we're going to be back together next Sunday. We are going to remind ourselves of the relationships that God's created us for and how to live them out well. But today, this morning, as we kind of wrap up our time together, let's spend some time focusing on the most important relationship we have, our relationship with God that is achieved and assured through the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. We're going to move into a time of communion. I want to invite you, whatever you've got there at the house, take communion with us, break bread. And as you do, reflect and remember Jesus's death and his body and his blood that was shed for us. And remember his resurrection, his promise that he will come again and make all things, including our relationships, good, right, and new. In his kingdom, we'll finally see ourselves and each other in our full identity. We'll understand that we're truly his beloved children, and we'll live that way forever. Let's spend some time reflecting and thanking God for that at communion. Awesome. Hey, it's been good to be with you guys, even if it's been virtually this morning. I trust that God works across time and space and even across the internet to bring us closer to each other and closer to Him. So before you go this morning, let me pray a blessing over you. And I hope that you have an amazing rest of your Sunday, an amazing rest of your week. And I can't wait to kick off this next teaching series together with you next week. May the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with each of you all this week. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Have an awesome week.